welcome back to Personal Productivity Using Technology CS150, and we are continuing with Chapter 3 from our book Exploring Microsoft Office 2013 for Excel basic charts. So after you have survived all the math of the formulas, we're going to do something fun and a little bit more artistic than functions and formulas that hopefully you will like, and it will help you take a breath from all these things that loaded your brain and engaged it to work in a couple of speeds with Excel formulas and functions. But fear not, we will be back with more engaging functions in Chapter 4 and what-if analysis and goal-seek, more advanced Excel topics in later videos. But for now, we're gonna play around with pretty pictures that we will call charts. And what is a chart, really? Well, it's a visual representation of numeric data. So why do we really need a visual? Well, I'm going to prove this to you with an example that, pure numbers just don't speak to us, whereas a good visual representation can give us a lot of benefits. For example, it can get you a promotion. Believe it or not, a good chart can show your good results to your boss or to your teacher if you want to get a good grade. A good chart can show your results much better than you talking about these or writing or just showing numbers from your experiment or from your calculations. So think about that next time you have a numerical homework where you have numbers. Think about the benefits of the chart, and I'll show you what this means in the example that follows. So we will decide which is the best chart to get us the best grade or the best bonus. We will also create charts and change chart types to actually see how different visuals change the things we believe about data. So let's get to it. We've got lots of things to work on. So what we've got to do is go to our H drive where we have downloaded. If you have not already done this, you may pause the video and download the E03C1 movies, of course, from Blackboard Course Documents Excel. Documents used in Excel. So the document we will be using today is E03C1 movies. And as you can see, there already is a chart here which we can just get rid of it. I'll just get rid of that chart. It doesn't look good anyways. So let's say that I've got all these numbers. I work for Netflix. And as you can see, these are weekly DVD rentals for a whole month. And what I'm trying to show is which movies is it worth to buy so that Netflix keeps making profit. This is a very real example. You may be working for Netflix and you may have to make a case on what your employer should buy in order to keep making profit and which DVDs are getting rented much more oftenly and in much more volume than other types of movies, other types of DVDs. So what I want to do is select all of this data and create a chart. So where will this chart be? Well, when in doubt, click around. It's probably going to be an insert, right? Because you're inserting an object, so that would make sense. And it's the closest tab after home. And now here's a nice new feature that did not exist on Excel 2010, recommended charts. So Excel might recommend to you, based on the data, which is the best chart to visualize this data to your boss and give them a proper suggestion. And you can imagine that on this suggestion, your job may depend on this recommendation. So the recommended charts may be really a good option, although, however, you might doubt this because they're recommended by a program, by Excel, so they may not be the best solution, and you may be able to find a better solution. Okay, so in this case, actually, I can see the charts that would be best for the situation, which are bar charts or clustered, stacked bar chart, or a clustered bar chart, or a clustered column chart. So these actually are indeed, in my humble opinion, the best solutions. So let's say that I am going to insert a two-dimensional column chart and use this as the first, as my first option. As you can see, what I'm doing right now is I'm fooling around with the chart. I'm moving this around. So when the mouse pointer looks like a cross and it has 4 arrows, then you can move your chart around to your spreadsheet, and you can move the chart in different spots. Now the nice thing is that you've got several options here on the right part of the chart that you didn't have when with Excel 2010. So just pointing out some differences in case you work with an older feature of 2010. This is really cool. It's like having your chart tools, see, additional tabs, 2 additional tabs in my Excel worksheet. So it's like having your tools all the time at your disposal right next to your chart. Now the pointer that is a white diagonal with arrows at the end helps me resize the chart. I can definitely also resize the chart by using options like height and width of the chart in the Format Chart Tools part. And as you can see, there's different very nice designs that I can have. I can change my chart colors. As you can see, the different designs also have their own custom options, like you see all these different labels in the chart style 4. Doesn't look good, does it? So we don't want to have all this cluttered information. So you can already see that you know how you should visualize data properly. Okay, the best way to visualize data is be clear. So clarity is also maybe a dark background, so I chose style number 8 because it has a dark background. Sometimes it emphasizes better what I want to say. So really visualizing your data with charts is an art, and you can pick some tips and tricks from the personal productivity using technology class, but of course it always depends on your judgment and on the situation, what you have to present and how you're going to present this. Okay, so here's one important thing. Okay, we may want to change this chart. We may have thought that, maybe the column chart is not the best way of visualizing this type of data, or at least, I want to look at the preview and I want to look how other charts look. So the really nice thing, which I don't think existed in Excel 2010, is the way we can visualize. And I'm going to go to the basic data, the preview. So this preview is very, very good because you can see the different types of charts, like the line chart or the pie chart. You can see all of these different types just with the preview. You don't have to change. So if you click OK, of course your chart is going to change. You can click undo to get this back to where it was. So A line chart is usually used for scientific data, such as, if you're a marine scientist, you may want to show trends of species, you're going to use a line chart. A column chart is used in financial data. It's good for distinct data points, non-continuous data points. A line chart is better for continuous data points, like continuous points that show how the water temperature changes with time. A pie chart is good for economic types of data and to show how data compares with so the data in a pie chart is percentages of a circle. So if the whole circle is 100%, then you can see drama is 50%. But the pie chart is limited. As you can see, I had 4 weeks in my data, but I can only visualize one of these weeks. So the pie chart is a little limited in the amount of data that it can show, whereas the bar chart can give you more, or column chart can give you larger amounts of data. So the bar chart is something like a horizontal column chart, okay? And it's a nice way to reverse your column chart and visualize the data a little differently. Not a huge difference there. The area chart, again, I've seen area and XY scatter charts mostly for scientific data. The XY scatter can also show you trends and relationships between data, like let's say the fish population depends on temperature, and an XY scatter of fish population versus water temperature can actually show really nicely how these relate, and they may have a linear relationship. As you can see, there's different groups of charts within the within the XY scatter or the area charts, different charts within the area charts, so different types of XY scatter or area charts or bar charts. And so the preview, it's just gorgeous because you get to see all these different views of visualizing your data. Surface charts are really good for 3D data. Radar charts is something that I've personally never used. I guess it has a very specialized application, and it's for comparison again of values and actually aggregate values. So very a much more specialized type of chart. And the combo chart can combine multiple different types of charts, like using a line for one set of your data and let's say columns for another set of your data. So this is a quick review of the different types of charts. And now let's go back to my original chart, which I'm going to keep as it is, a column chart. And let's look at what we've got over here. So what we've got in a chart is different data points. So that's one data point. It tells me that the numbers of the action of the week number 1. So the week number 1, 1500 resides here because it's about action and adventure movies. The week number 1 for animation is here, where my mouse points, and the point comedy is here. Now there's also a series, data series, which is week 1. All of these data points belong to the series week 1, and the series is just a set of data. And then you've got, if you didn't have these, your life would be very difficult. You've got labels. You've got labels for your series, and that we also call these legends and labels for your X and Y axis, and we can add additional labels as needed. So now there's other things that we need to do with the chart, such as category totals, for example. So we have a chart here that shows weekly rentals, and really these category totals, the totals for these and the week totals, are throwing our chart off the map, because you can see that these data points are so small compared to the totals, which very much makes sense. So what if we tried to get rid of these totals? So first thing I want to show you is one of my favorite things in the Format tab. Okay, this is for selecting different parts of your chart. Now I selected the vertical values. Now I've selected the whole chart area. Now just the horizontal category. Imagine if your chart is cluttered. Okay, that feature is just awesome. It can save you from a lot of grief selecting specific series or even specific data points, and so on and so forth. So at this point I want to select the category totals, and I want to get rid of the category totals. So how am I going to do that? I can simply hit delete, and now my chart only visualizes the weekly rentals, and as you can see, things look better. I can actually see my numbers in the y-axis and all these different things. And if I want to get rid of the weekly totals, I can show you a different way to do that. Just drag the frame that indicates what I am drawing in my chart. So now I think I already have a huge improvement. Other things that I can do with a chart, I can switch rows and columns. So this way I get a different visual. I get the weeks, and the different genders of movies are visualized with different columns. So different types, different ways of visualizing my data. The most important trick is the format current selection. I don't know how many times, especially with line charts, I had a trouble selecting a part of my chart, and this current selection has just saved me. It also helps you understand the terminology, like what is the plot area that Dr. X is asking us in the quiz? Well, I can go to the current selection formatting tab and find the plot area, and here it is highlighted from my current selection. What is this legend that she's talking about in the quiz? I don't need to memorize anything as long as I know that in the Format tab there's a current selection, and I can go and look for legend, and here's my legend highlighted by Excel. So Excel is doing the work for you, and you do not have to memorize anything from the terminology, just understand how to find this. So with these, all of these beautiful visuals, all of these different chart types and the different parts of a chart, we will conclude this first part of Excel Chapter 3, and we will have more details and more cool tricks on the next videos. See you later.